Hi, welcome to the Military Minute. This is a new program we're going to feature on our Facebook page. It just talks about some of the things we do with the collections. This segment is going to be about how to preserve some historic firearms that might be hanging up on your wall. And we're going to go through the proper procedure of how to clean them and also prevent them from being gummed up by oils and greases from your fingers in the future. The first thing you want to do, well, a lot of people don't realize that if you have a weapon hanging up on your wall, when dust settles on that weapon or dust settles on any kind of metal surface, the dust actually pulls moisture out of the air. So that explains why you might have a hunting cabin where you got some weapons on the wall and you don't visit for a while and you come back and you find this thin sheen of rust on it. That's because dust has settled and pulled the moisture out of the air and it's causing the weapon to rust. So what we're going to do is clean up a weapon that we had received recently from the State Museum in Harrisburg, clean it up with the proper solvents, and also we're going to wax it. And here to assist is our collections technician extraordinaire, John McDonald from Penn State. And what we're going to first do is, which we had already did this, we vacuumed the piece off of any loose rust or any kind of bud and stuff. And you want to use a very variable filter or variable motor vacuum. You don't want to have a lot of suction on it because you don't want to remove anything off of it. But we've already vacuumed. We're not using gloves at this point because we're going to be doing a really thorough cleaning and some of our hands might get kind of wet from the WD-40. First thing you start off with is just like a normal rifle, you're going to clean the bore out. So I'm going to provide some stabilization here while John runs our brass bore brush through. And again, you're just going to use it the same as your regular hunting rifle. Okay. Now we'll be removing that and we'll be running a wet patch through and then drying it off with the dry patch. We want to leave a little bit WD-40 or some gum oil inside there, not too much, but we want to leave a thin film inside to prevent any kind of rusting that might be occurring. The supplies we're going to be using are going to be WD-40 or any kind of other solvent. This is usually the best because it helps to disperse water. Cleaning off, once we get finished cleaning the weapon with the WD-40, we're going to clean it off with some low odor mineral spirits. And then finally, we're going to be applying some Renaissance wax, which is what we use here, which is going to add a film of protection on the metal for anybody that's going to be handling it. It's also going to make this metal just snap out. It's going to look really, really sharp, as well as the wood too. It's safe for wood. The big thing you don't want to use in cleaning is you don't want to use any silicone. You don't want to have any kind of products that have silicone in it because silicone is just nasty. It's just nasty for museum collections. So we will get started on the intricacies and hopefully show you some close-ups with our. We're applying the WD-40 now. And we ran the wet patch through and we're running the dry patch through now, and it's about the fourth dry patch and it's pretty clean now. So we're ready for the thin little film of oil that we're going to place down the barrel. Now what we're doing is just using the WD-40 as a mild solvent, and we're not removing rust, we're just reducing it. Rust removal is a little bit beyond just simple conservation of a piece of metal. So we're just reducing it so that when we apply the wax barrier,
it will adhere much nicer. And you want to try and get into every nook and cranny. So we're going to use some Q-tips and some very fine steel wool, using the WD-40 in conjunction with the very fine steel wool. You know, all this is in the effort to just prevent the rust from getting worse and removing any possibility of corrosion in the future. Now we've finished the major cleaning with the WD-40 and reducing of any rusty areas. And we're now cleaning up the residue of the WD-40 with the low odor mineral spirits. And John has already finished the metal mechanisms of the weapon, and we're using the mineral spirits to lightly clean off the wooden stock. Now mind you, if you have a weapon that's been blued or any kind of treatment on the barrel or metal itself, you do not want to use the WD-40 or the fine metal scrubbings. But if it's just plain old steel, it will work out really, really nice. And once we put the wax on, this stock is just going to jump right out at you. Same as with the other metal. The whole basis of this is you got to have a very light touch. Be very careful of what you're doing, because again, you don't want to be gouging out any kind of deep ruts or ruin any type of finish on the weapon itself. So now we'll be applying the wax. We're applying a very thin coat of the Renaissance wax. Actually, there are several waxes you can use. Renaissance is just the one that we pick. And again, the important thing is you don't want to have any silicone inside any materials you put on to buff out. Another treatment option too is that if this had a leather strap, we would do absolutely nothing to the leather strap. Leather, by its very nature, is going to decay over time because of the tanning processes that have been used. And if you put saddle soap or any kind of oil within the leather, all you do is just speed up the process of where the leather is going to decay. So with leather, you don't want to do anything. Now we're ready for buffing out. Beautiful weapon. Now that wax is going to remain on that surface, and it's going to protect any kind of dust that might be settling on there and prevent it from rusting out the weapon. Also, you can handle it, and once you're done handling it, you can still buff out any kind of fingerprints that are on it. But that is going to make your weapon last a lot longer and look a lot nicer on the mantle. So we're finished with this right now. We're going to do another piece, which is another MG08/12, and that one is a painted in a camouflage pattern, which we believe may have happened after the war by the American who brought it back. This one is not going to require any deep cleaning, but we will clean off the surface with mineral spirits, as well as apply the wax to make this just jump out and be nice and shiny, and as well as protected. Now John's applying the Renaissance wax. light coating. Okay, the wax has been applied, and now we're going to be buffing it out. Nice, good shoe shine buff. Those colors are just snapping out with that wax on there. You can see the light glistening off. And again, that's going to provide a really good protection against any fingerprints or any dust that's laying down. So that is all you need to do to protect your historic weapons on that mantelpiece. Oh, and keep them out of the sun as well. All right, that's our military museum moment. Hope you enjoy it and can use the advice.